Back on the show now is Hercules himself, Dalton Rosta, after a huge win over Aaron Jeffrey this past weekend, PFL semifinals. Now, Dalton, you're going to be taking on Fabian Edwards for the championship, August the 21st. It can't get here soon enough, my man. How you feeling about this big win over Aaron?
Feel great. Got my only loss back, and now I get to fight for a world title. So couldn't feel any better. I feel on top of the world right now.
I know too. Obviously, there was a little bit of bad blood going in. You wanted to you didn't just want to beat Aaron. You wanted to finish him, right? Like how
Yes.
difficult was that not to get him out of there? How surprised were you with what he brought to the table this time?
No, I knew the dude has a chin on him. I mean, he's never been knocked out. He got finished by Brendan Allen once, but it was with a submission, the rear naked choke. And I know he has a chin on him because I hit him with some hard shots in the first fight. But the flying knee I threw in the one round, it connected on his chest, not his head. That was what I was getting at, where I thought it was going to be a second round. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I was the first round. It was more going to be like filling him out. Trying to get him like kind of like lure him into that game plan where he kind of dips his head in the middle whenever he's trying to go for the clinch. He jabs his way in, drops down in the stance, boom. I got video of us practicing on the pads and shit too. I did it once during the fight, but I don't know, like, game plan wise, I stuck to my game plan, but I was supposed to throw that flying knee a little bit more. Unfortunately, I only threw it once. I got away from it. It wasn't really in the back of my head at the time because he kept pushing me against the cage, and he actually went for like three or four takedowns in that fight where he went for a double leg, he went for a single, he went for a body lock. He tried me dragging me down a few times too, and I wasn't expecting him to actually wrestle and try to take me down. I was just thinking he was going to hold me against the cage. So when he started going for the takedowns, that kind of like put it in the back of my head. I was like, these are close rounds. I don't want to lose a round by throwing a flying knee
Yeah.
and he catches my hips and then I get put on my butt even for 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like I had no I believed I could get up. I don't think anybody in the world can hold me down, but just in the judges' eyes, I mean, it was a close fight. I think I decisively won the first round, and round two and round three were tight. I think I won both of them personally, especially after watching it back. I thought I won that fight 30-27 after watching it back, but in the moment in the fight, I was like, I won 29-28. And as I said on the mic after, I was like, those last two rounds are close, and just based off of how judging usually goes, even though I feel like I won all three. I feel like they were probably going to give him one of those rounds, which they ended up doing. And that being said, I didn't want to give him my hips and then possibly give away one of those rounds just because of control time. If somebody waited control time a little bit more than they did the open striking and stuff like that.
When you heard them say 30-27 Jeffrey, how nervous were you?
That's what I was trying to get at on the mic, man. I was like, I knew I won for sure. The first thing I said, I was like, I knew I at least for sure got 29-28. That's what I thought I won the fight. And then whenever they read off 30-27, I'm like, nah, this is the type of fight we're dealing with today, or type of judges we're dealing with. So I got a little worried, and that's exactly why I don't want to leave it in hands of the judges. And hindsight's 2020, but I probably could have taken a few more chances and risk with the flying knees or the big shots. I wasn't putting a lot of power on my shots either, just because he's walking forward so much, and I didn't want to telegraph anything. I wanted to stick to my game plan, fight smart, and I did exactly that, and I came out with the win.
I know you respect the hell out of Aaron as a competitor, as a fighter, but do you like him as a person? Is there bad blood there?
Honestly, I don't like he seems like a nice guy before the fights, but I don't know if that's just like the type of like personality he's trying to present to people. I heard he's a nice guy in person too, but when I fought him the first time, this was before like you had to have a knee down to be a grounded opponent, but I had a hand down and he needed me in the top of the head. Literally the top of the head's an illegal shot anyways, but he needed me in the top of the head while I was down. He elbowed me 12-6 on the spine, and then he continued to hand or fist after they said watch the spine. He in the clinch, he was putting his fingers in my eye. He was just a super dirty fighter, and then in my mind, and then after the fight, he posted something like "living the American dream," like trying to mock me. And then I remember seeing like podcasts where he's on a podcast with his coaches, and it seemed like his coach was more like condescending and cocky and smug than he was. But it seemed like he was playing into it a little bit. And they were talking about how the foot stomp in the third round was illegal, and they didn't know that. And they were talking about like all the dirty shit he did during the fight, and like just talking shit after. And it's like, where's that shit talk beforehand?
Mhm.
You feel comfortable talking shit after, but where is it beforehand? And so that's where I kind of like I didn't believe the nice guy shtick. And I mean, maybe he's just like that with me. Maybe he's just like that in the cage. I don't know. But in that fight in the second round. To at the end of the second round, you see he caught me with two shots after the bell. That's the dirty shit I'm talking about. You know what I mean? You could play the nice guy all you want, but when you're doing shit like that, it doesn't exactly add up. So people, I was the one talking shit. I was trying to get him going, but that's just who I am. And people either love it or hate it. There's a lot of people hating it, but there was a lot of people hating it because they think he's such a nice guy. But I think I don't want to say he's a dirty fighter, but he does dirty things in the fights, and that's why I don't believe he's this great nice guy. But I do respect him as a competitor. He's a tough guy. He has no quit in him. Um, and he's a grinder. I said that before the fight within a coachman interview. He's definitely a grinder, and he makes every fight close. You know what I mean? No matter who it is, he makes the fight close. And I knew if I didn't get him out of there, it was going to be one of those close fights because he was going to relentlessly try to push me up against the cage. And every time I got away, he just did it again, rinse and repeat. So I knew I had to win the open exchanges, the boxing exchanges. I had to check the calf kick. I had to stay out of the way of the teep, all the stuff that he was doing the first time, and stay off the cage for too long. And I did a good job getting away from the cage a lot too. And there was only probably two times where I was there for periods longer than I wanted to be. And then I also controlled him against the cage and end the second round. So I think there's a lot of shit to break down and go back and look at. But ultimately, I'm happy with my performance. And I knew if I didn't get him out of there, that was the type of fight it was going to be. I knew it was going to be hard. And I told everybody my conditioning, my cardio is not a problem anymore. And look, I went in there, fought the boogeyman whenever it comes to fucking cardio. Everybody talks about his cardio, his pace, uh, all this shit, how he breaks people. And a lot of his finishes, he has 10 finishes come late in fights when he's breaking people. But look how I finished the fight. Not only did I not get tired, did I not look fatigued, but look who finished the fight harder. So at the end of the day, all questions about my cardio and my gas tank should be put to rest. And it's only going to get better from here on out.
I love it, man. And I also I loved what PFL did with kind of hyping this fight. The interviews that you guys did with Jonathan Coachman, that was fantastic. Let me ask you this too, Dalton. Obviously, a win's a win. You just got to get the win regardless of how you do it. You advance to the championship. Now you got this fight with Fabian. But like, did you feel more pressure before this rematch with Aaron? Like, did you feel more pressure than any other fight that you've had to this date?
1000%. And it's because he beat me before. It's the only guy that beat me. It's the only stain on my record. And the problem is like I knew I was a better fighter than him. I knew I was a better fighter than the first time, and I fought stupid. I said it. Um, and I had some injuries going into that fight. Now that I got the fight back, I feel more comfortable saying it because I don't want to feel like I was making excuses, but I did. And I had to change up the game plan last minute for that fight. But this time went in healthy, stuck to the game plan, and yeah, I listened to my coaches, didn't stray away from it, didn't let ego get involved because there's a few times during that fight where I'm like, I want to start laying some hammers down on them, but I was like, I gotta fight smart, just touch them, move, touch them, move, touch them, move, and so I didn't get away from it. I didn't let emotion play too much. I didn't let my ego come into play. I fought smart, and I felt like he was letting his emotions take advantage or take over him a little bit too much as well. He started sticking his tongue out, and I'm thinking to myself, instead of playing back into it, I'm just thinking in my head, like you're sticking your tongue out, but you got blood all over it. You got blood above your eye. You got blood coming from your nose. Like you don't look cool sticking your nose or your tongue out right now when you're getting beat.
Mhm.
And at the end of the fight, we had like a little interaction where because I heard him say that in a pre-fight scrum, the media that they were rating like my skills. They were like, "What would you rate a strike?" And he was like, "A B plus." And then he was like, "What would you rate just grappling?" B plus. And then he asked about something else, maybe fight IQ or something. He's like, "I'll give him a B there." And then they're like, "What about heart?" And he's like, "He's failing there. I'll give him a big fat F or some shit like that." And then he was also talking about my cardio and the fight build up. So at the end of the fight, I was like, "How was that cardio and how was that heart?" And he was like, "Oh, still iffy in the third round." I was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Look how we finished that third round." And then he said something else, and I was like, "Yeah, I won the fight." And he's like, "We'll see." And I was like, "Yeah, the judge was about to read it off. I won." And that's exactly how it went. So, but like I said, at the end of the day, uh, I don't really hate him as a person, but I sure as hell don't like him. And yeah, that's that.
Mhm. I know, again, you're totally lasered in on Fabian next, but let me ask you this. If you were a betting man, do you think there's a trilogy fight with you and Aaron at some point down the line?
I mean, possibly just because the last one was so close, but I mean, maybe next year, but I'm gonna win that belt this year, and
Right.
then probably have a unification belt at the end of the year with PFL Championship Series. So whoever I have to fight then, I plan on beating them as well,
How
and
do you
so he'll have to work his way back to the title.
how do you like this the PFL the format and everything? Like, are you happy with all the changes the way that things are now? Because I'll be honest to you, for me, Bellator no longer being a thing, it's kind of weird. I'm still trying to get used to it. I'm just curious your thoughts because this is actually the first time that we've actually talked since PFL basically swallowed up and Bellator is no longer.
Yeah, I love the Bellator brand, and it does feel weird that it's not around anymore. But I like being more active. I fought 2 times in the past 3 months, and I'm fighting again in 7.5 weeks. So I'm thrilled about it. And then I'm probably going to fight again at the end of the year. So I love the format. Um, with Bellator, I mean, there was a few years there they only fought me once per year, 10 months in between fights. I didn't like it, and then I also like even though there's less room for sponsors and stuff like that, I like the uniformity of it. Like everything's more structured, more organized. They seem to be investing in the fighters a lot more. They're really promoting some of the fighters like me, for example. The PFL is working on getting us sponsors, not just our managers. Like they're helping out with sponsors and stuff. Like Valor wanted to sponsor me, so PFL set it up. Same thing with Arkham. Arkham reached out to me and wanted to sponsor me because they seen what I did with Valor, and they were sitting right next to Valor at my initial fight. And so yeah, I think there's been a lot of opportunities with the PFL, and personally I love fighting for them. So
And I think it really seems this way too, especially if you win this championship, that you could really be the face of this organization. Have you been told that? Does it seem that they're kind of like grooming you to be like the guy?
it seems that way. It seems like they all love me. It seems like a lot of the fans are hating me, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of the comments after the fight on some of the posts and some of PFL posts. But every time you click on one of these people's profile, they have a Canadian flag in their bio, or a maple leaf thing in their bio, or Canada in their bio, or follow Aaron Jeffrey. So uh, I'm not surprised at that. But everybody in the organization, they tell me I'm making their job easy for them, very marketable, and they're loving everything that I do, and they told me to keep doing what I'm doing. So I'm just being myself. None of this is fake. I'm just being myself, and they love it. So I'm loving it as well.
How do you like deal with like the hate or the negative comments? Like, do you pay attention to it? I mean, at the place you're at you are now, I have to imagine too, Dalton, that you got to just kind of like tune that out and not get on and look, right, and scroll the comments. Are you noticing that you're just being like, screw that, I don't want to look at this stuff anymore?
No, I look at everything, man. I think it's entertaining because the thing is like when I'm reading this stuff, it doesn't get to me. I don't hold it with too much weight, but I like to see people's opinions and what they're saying, and a lot of time it makes me laugh. Same thing with before the fights. Like I'm reading into the betting odds and like what fans are saying, predictions, shit like that's all entertainment at the end of the day. You got to think about it like this. Like if I weren't a fighter and I was just a normal fan, I'd be reading that stuff anyways. Just because I'm fighting and they're talking about me doesn't mean that I'm not interested in what they're saying. People have these fight shows and these podcasts and everything about fighting, and people watch them for a reason. They have X amount of views and subscribers and everything for a reason. People want to hear their thoughts. I'm the same way, but I don't let it affect how I'm game planning, my mindset towards the fight. None of that. It's like more entertainment. Like
Mm.
I'm looking at it as like a fan, not myself.
Gotcha. Okay. Tell me a little bit just about the evolution of you as a fighter, because obviously we saw you had your first submission victory as a pro overseas most
Mhm.
recently, and now you get this one. How have you really evolved overall?
Yeah, I think I the biggest thing for me, I think, is my mindset, my mentality. So it's like all up here for me now, and that helped my training, and then my training helped my mentality more. So it's just they just keep bouncing off each other and making each other better. The change and shift in my mentality made me train better. The training made me more confident, and then made me train harder again, made me more confident. Just keep building on each other. I think that's the biggest thing. And from that, all my skill sets have gotten better. My boxing has gotten better. I believe in my hands more. I'm opening up with my combinations. My wrestling's better. I'm pushing the pace on people. I'm riding people better with like wrestling rides at practice. I'm hunting submissions. Subbing people that usually don't get subbed at all. You know what I mean? I haven't lost a round in a long time, and I just keep getting better. And I think the biggest thing, and like what mine said, is like pushing the pace, pushing the cardio, and I'm making a lot of people quit on me at practice.
Mm.
And either that or they not necessarily quit, but they ease up and they kind of just let me have my way at some points. And Yeah, I think, like you said, with the submission against Saudi BC, that wasn't the first submission I was hunting either. If you look at the Norbert Naveni fight before that, I went for a Kimura, I went for a Americana. Like I was searching for and hunting for submissions, but I just over time, especially over that next year, 10 months, whatever it was again, I just got better and better and better and kept building on top of it. But I think the most gains I made were probably in these last 8 months. And it was just like I stayed consistent and kept training hard. And there's times where you don't feel like you're progressing at all. And then just like overnight, like boom, something snapped. Like I walked into the gym and people just said I was different. You know what I mean? It's not just they said I'm different. Like I feel it. My coaches see it. You know, I'm seeing the results in my live rounds. I'm seeing the results in my fights. So, I'm consistency is key, and sometimes when you don't see the results, you got to just stick with it because you don't know how close you are to breaking through to that next level.
And you're not even 30 yet, right? You're still
No,
29.
I'm 29. Yep.
Okay. The best is yet to come, right? Like,
Yeah, I know. I'm just entering my prime now. I was uh I was just telling somebody I got some blood work done a couple years ago, and my levels were like in the 700s or something, and they were like, "That's above average," blah blah blah. But I just got it done. I got it done the next year, and then I got it done again just a couple months ago. My levels were like 1150, and it's like my levels at 29 years old are higher than they were when I was 26,
wow.
and 25. So it's like I'm really in my prime now, and maybe it's partially because of my diet, maybe it's because of how I'm treating my recovery, everything I'm doing outside of training, my change and shift in training. I don't know what it is, but everything's kind of culminating together, and I'm definitely in my prime right now.
And
So
I've
just
heard
entering it.
And I've heard you say multiple times too that you're the best middleweight in the world. With the guys that you go with at AT&T on a regular basis, I mean, you're training with Marvin Vettori, a top ranked guy in the UFC. You must have a real good idea as to where you'd stack up if you were in the UFC, right? Like, can you just kind of tell me like the feedback that you get from those guys? Because I hate to say it, I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't talk about it a little bit. But everyone is always like, oh well, if he's not in the UFC, then he's not right. Like
Yeah.
tell me your mindset when you hear that kind of stuff, when you know, because you're going with those guys on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's what the casual fan doesn't understand. And I know practice isn't exactly the same as a fight, but if you're not training like you want to win the rounds and like it's as close to a fight as you can possibly get, you're not training correctly. But I'm training, like you said, I'm training with a lot of those guys. I'm training with the best guys in the world in my gym. They're all in the gym with me. PFL fighters fight with you, or train with UFC fighters, spar with them, everything. So it's not like all the best fighters in UFC and the PFL is B leagues. It's like that's not how it works. And casual fans don't seem to get that. But at the end of the day, I train with a lot of UFC fighters. I train with Johnny Eblin, who's the champ. I train with Josh, who's just another semifinals. I've trained with Marvin Vettori. I trained with Christoph Jocko when he was in UFC, or Mariot Madoff when he was in UFC. Uh, I train with Ivan Erskine, and he's in the UFC. I train with, there's several guys. I could keep naming them like left and right that I'm training with that I see how I stack up against. And yeah, I just not just the feedback from them, but like how I'm doing against them, and uh, a lot of these guys I usually can like completely dominate in some areas, and it's like I can make that step to the UFC right now. You know what I mean? If it were able to happen, if they did a PFL versus UFC type of crossover where I know I could beat everybody in the top 10 of the UFC, but nobody's going to believe it. They're like, this wild for you to say when you're in the PFL, not in UFC. Go over to the UFC and prove it. They don't understand how this shit works.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, for example, to touch up on my like gas tank a little bit, my conditioning, like Yaroslav Amosov, former Bellator champ, like has told Mike Brown and multiple coaches, like Dalton's conditioning is good now. Like he keeps pushing the pace, like telling them, and then they come up and tell me he said that. And then like someone like Marvin Vittori, who you just mentioned, he kind of jokingly, but I think he's actually serious, accuses me of being on like EPO now. And then I'm like, bro, I get drug tests. He's like, I don't care. He's like, it's an IQ test. He's like, you know how to get around it. You talk to a doctor to get around it. I'm like, bro, no, the fuck, I don't. He's like dead serious, but it seems like he's like trying to play around a little bit, but you could tell he's serious. And then he's like, bro, there's no way you went from like gassing to outlasting everybody in the gym. Like you're not getting tired. Like we did a Shark Tank wall on the day of the one, or Shark Tank round on the wall the one day. And I was the one they were trying to take me down, and so I stayed in for all 5 or 6 minutes of the round, and a new guy came in on me every minute.
Yeah.
and I didn't get taken down by anybody. I wasn't getting tired, and that's like kind of like when he said it. He's like, "There's no way." He's like, "You're definitely taking EPO now." So, that's some of the comments I get. But yeah, there's a plethora of world class fighters, top fighters in UFC and in PFL in that gym, and I get to test myself every single day. And I don't want to single anybody out,
Right.
seem like I'm throwing shade, but uh, I'm I'm the best, period. And you know, this year with the tournament, and then with the whatever they're doing at the end of the year, with like the PFL Championship Series and the World Tournament winner, I'll get to prove it. I'll get to prove it in August 21st, and then maybe I'll get to prove it again at the end of the year. Um, but we'll see. I mean, no better opportunity now than to prove it. And I proved it the first two rounds with a former champ, then with the only guy that beat me. So I redeemed the only stain on my record. I mean, now can they say? I'm just going to continue to win and going to win in the finals. And then, like I said, again at the end of the year.
Tell me, is it becoming a little bit harder for you as you're getting older to make 185? Because when most people look at you, Dalton, and then they see you step on the skates, they're like, how the hell does this guy make middleweight? Come on. Like, what, how big are you getting now? If you're not like dialed in, if you're deciding to eat some pizza or whatever it is that you like, how big do you get?
So I stay relatively lean outside of my fights, even whenever I don't have a fight coming up. But I have to stay even leaner now with the tournament. But I'm pretty big, bro. It's getting harder, but I still don't struggle to make it just because I do everything right. I do my diet right. I do the weight cut right, but I do cut a lot of water. But it's not hard for the water to come off. Like the morning of for this last fight, I think I cut like 8 or 9 pounds the morning of, but I did like 13 the night before. So I cut like 21 or 22 pounds for this for this last fight, like the last 12 hours. But it came off easy. I worked out in sauna the night before, and then I got up early the morning of just in case I had any issues. And then we also had a 2 hour weigh-in window to make weight, but I got to weigh-ins before they started and was on weight, and I was actually overshot it a little bit. What came in at like 185.2. So it gets a little harder, but I'm still not struggling to make it. But answer your question about how heavy I get, this isn't just outside of camp. This is what I rehydrated to. So when they brought me back to the stadium or to the arena to fight Aaron Jeffrey, they had me step on the scale whenever I got there on weigh-in day or on fight day. And without my shoes, I had my suit on, but I didn't have a belt. I didn't have a shirt. I just had the suit jacket, just the pants. And I was 216 pounds. So I
Okay.
gained with that back, I gained 31 pounds.
Wow. It's incredible. I don't know how you guys do it. You have it down to a science. It's really it's remarkable how professional you guys have to be to cut the weight that you do to weigh in on fight night and compete. Let me ask you a little bit about this. I want to transition back, obviously, to the Fabian Edwards fight eventually, but I want to talk to you a little bit about your Steelers and outside of the gym and fight camp. Obviously, you were just mentioning you posted all over your social media. You just threw the first pitch out at the Pirates game. Thank God, no 50 Cent situation there. It was a straight pitch. Like, what was that like? How cool was that to do? I'm sure that's something you always dreamed of as a kid.
Yeah, that was cool. I did the Cubs game the Saturday before my fight. So 6 days before my fight, I did the Cubs. And then I came back to Pittsburgh to do the Pirates the Monday after my fight. So I threw two first pitches in like a 10-day span, 9-day span, whatever it was. And it's an awesome experience. Not a lot of people get to do that. And I got to do it 2 times within a 10-day span. And I got to do it in pretty much my hometown in front of everybody at the Pittsburgh Pirates Stadium. I got to do it in Chicago. It's life's great right now, man. I couldn't ask for a better life.
Is this the happiest you've ever been?
For sure, for sure. I don't need this stuff to be happy, but it's definitely making life better. I was happy before all this, but um, definitely better now.
Well, tell me, as we get closer to football season, the Steelers have made a lot of noise in the offseason. So, what's your take? How good are they going to be? How happy are you with everything they've done?
I don't know if I like them getting rid of Minka, but the thing is they got Jalen Ramsey, who's still one of the best cornerbacks in the league. But you got rid of one of the best safeties in the league, but you also gained great receiving tight end. So what we're lacking at the second receiver spot, we have it now as tight end two, maybe a tight end one, depending on how they divvy it up. And now we have a big tight end and Darnell Washington for running packages. So I don't know what they're going to do to address the wide receiver two position still, but we have slot options with Roman Wilson still and Calvin Austin. They both have speed. Maybe they just need some development. And then we got DK. But I don't think we should have let GP go, but I know he was a locker room issue. Uh, but that's why they got rid of him. But I feel like with GP and DK, and then now with Johnny Smith, and then with Calvin Austin, and then Pat Fryermuth and Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, even though he's not prime Aaron Rodgers, still Aaron Rodgers. I think we could have lit up some defenses for sure. And we got rid of Najee Harris, which I was never a fan of. I thought he was holding back our offense big time because he wasn't very dynamic. He didn't hit holes hard. He wasn't very fast. He tried to play the patient running back, and that wasn't him. So I'm glad we got rid of him. And then on defense, we got Darius Slayton, Joey Porter Jr., and Jalen Ramsey at cornerback. And we got TJ Watt, Cam Hayward at on the D line. And then our linebacker core is great too. So it's like
You guys still got to re-sign TJ though, right? That's still in negotiations.
he's on the last year of his contract. So I think he's trying to get a new deal made, but he still has one more year with us, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Were you disappointed that you guys passed on Shador? Did you feel like he could have been a good young fit and maybe like be groomed underneath Rodgers for a year?
Yeah, I think so. I think we should have picked him up, especially when he fell to like the third round. I'm like, why not?
Right.
Like, you're talking about an attitude issue, but like he grew up with like one of like his dad's famous and like that literally him getting that coaching job at school brought a lot more attention, and he's young, so like he can still be guided in the right direction and mentored in the right direction. And maybe it's not really an attitude problem. Maybe it's a confidence problem and he's projecting it the wrong way. Maybe people are taking him the wrong way. You know what I mean? So I think that's what they made it about. But I think he's extremely talented, and I think should have taken a chance on him, especially when he dropped to what, the fifth round, sixth round. When did he get
Yeah.
taken?
Yeah. I think he was in the sixth round.
Yeah, so it's like, why not just take a chance in the fourth or fifth?
Oh, that's what I thought. I have too many Steelers friends around me on a daily basis. They're always chirping in my ear, black and gold and all that stuff. So I hear you, man. They all wanted you guys to draft Shador as well. So we'll see what happens. You know me, my Patriots. We still got a long way to come before we're back in I think the championship mix. I think we can maybe be like a wild card, but we got a long way to go.
Yeah, but maybe the one thing I am glad about is we didn't reach for him at least. He went all the way in the sixth. So it's like, imagine if we would have reached in the first and second.
Right.
Then you didn't see that he went until there was a lot of quarterbacks that went before him. But I don't know. I would have liked to see him on the team. But maybe all the coaches and GMs and everything know that something we don't know. There has to be a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. So do you have like a way too early prediction for the Steelers this year? What do you think is possible? Like how far do you think you guys can go?
I feel like we got to address the uh, wide receiver two position. And then I think our offensive line looks good, especially with Troy Fatanu coming back. And then we have Jalen Warren still at running back, and we just brought in a rookie too. We probably have change of pace running backs. We'll probably run that two running back offense where we're switching them in and out a lot. And on defense, if we could just fill in, maybe another D lineman and a safety in the offseason or going into camp or something, I think we make a good push into the playoffs. But it's all dependent on if they fill those positions. I think we're a contender,
You can, I would imagine you're probably going to attend a few games this year, right? Do you have
one
any?
thousand percent.
Yeah. Do you have any like games that you've circled where like, okay, I'm going to be at this game, I'm going to be at that one?
No, because I've been so focused on my fights coming up, I haven't really planned anything ahead of time. I just been focused on like, okay, I got to do this, this, and this, and then we'll cross that bridge whenever we get to it. So I'd like to get to as many as I possibly can, honestly.
You still lifting weights with James Harrison?
No, I haven't lifted weights in a long time, bro. I did that little stint with James Harrison, but before that, it was years before I lifted, and it's been years since then too. So I haven't lifted besides that stint and maybe another small like month or two stint in between then. I probably haven't lifted consistently in 8 years, man.
Really? Okay. That's
Yeah.
that's surprising. So what will camp look like for you now as you get back to Florida to get ready for Fabian? Are you going to be doing anything different or is it just going to be kind of business as usual?
And it's gonna be business as usual, but I plan on going in there and making a statement. This last fight was tough. I made a prediction for second round knockout. I didn't get it, and I knew if I didn't get it, I knew that's the type of fight it was going to be because he makes every fight like that. He's that type of guy that stays just enough in there, and his style, the way he fights. You know what I mean? It always makes it hard for the judges, even when the winner, like myself, is winning the fight. You know, they really have to break down and analyze it, and this fight, he's a good striker, decent striker, I should say. I think he overhypes himself a little bit too much, and their that family's known for quitting. You know, Leon quit against Kamaru, got a lucky head kick, but he was done. You seen his spirit was gone, and then he did the same thing against Leon. So I plan on going in there and doing something similar to that. And if I can finish him early, so be it. But if he's tough and he doesn't want to get out there, I will break out. I'll break him. I'll go in there. I'll maul him. I will break him. I'll maul him on the feet. I'll maul him on the ground. It does not matter. I'll beat that man everywhere.
His last loss was to someone you know pretty well, and Johnny Eblin. Um,
Twice.
yeah. So when you look at the guys that have beat him and what they've done, do you feel like stylistically this matches up as maybe an easier fight for you than Jeffrey, or can you kind of like break down in your head when you're thinking about like a more challenging fight?
Stylistically, like I said, styles make fights. And Aaron Jeffrey's style of fighting, he makes it close with everyone. He had a split decision with Fabian too. He had a split decision with me. He had a split decision with who else did he just have? With the Murad Ramazanov,
Mhm.
last wrestler he fought. Like that's the way this guy fights. He makes every single fight close if he doesn't finish you in the late rounds. Like he fight all of his finishes, he's fighting the same way too. And then people just quit at the end of the fight and he gets these late finishes. So tough style with Fabian. Stylistically, I match up so well with this guy, and it's such a great style for me. And like I said, I can't wait to go in there, and I'm just gonna fucking maul this dude. I don't know why he's so confident. Probably because his emotions were running high after the fight, and he got a false sense of confidence because he won his last two and he's in the finals. But he got beat twice by Johnny. He got beat by the guy that's fighting Johnny coming up. Like this dude, he's what 6-4 in his last 10. Yeah, he's 6-4 in his last 10. He started off 9-0. Now he's 15-4. I'm going to absolutely murder this guy. It's not even going to be close.
Do you think it could be an early finish, or do you think you might have to chip away, kind of like hurt him, and then find his off button a little bit later?
Listen, it's hard to tell which Fabian's going to show up, but if he shows up tough and he doesn't want to be put away, maybe I'd put him away in the later rounds and I chip away at him and break him. But I think I can finish him early too. We'll see how it goes. Uh, I'm not really committed to either way right now, but I think either way I choose to, or either way the fight goes, I think I win no matter what.
And can you kind of put it into words? I know we're, putting the cart before the horse right now, but if you do go in there and you get this win and you win this championship, I mean, what is that going to mean to you for everything that you've done in your career to get to this point? Like, is it too soon to even talk about that, or can you kind of talk about like maybe like your thoughts as a kid coming up, wanting to accomplish your dreams and like what it would mean to achieve this?
No, I mean this fight is literally a world title fight. So I'm fighting for a world title for the PFL, and I'm going to be the world tournament champion. So this is the most important fight to me up to this point. I'm going to train like it. I always train hard, but this fight I'm going to find an extra gear in this camp. It's going to be my first round five or 5 round fight, and I'm looking forward to the task at hand. And like I said, I can't fucking wait, man. I'm going to maul this guy, and I'm going to make it look easy.
Last question here, Dalton. I know you got stuff to do and you got planes to get on, but when you think about the cardio issues that people have said, like, oh well, his cardio is not that great, and then this being a 5 round fight, what's your mindset going into it about kind of maybe not pressing on the gas right from the beginning? Do you feel like that is something that has to be a factor with it being a 5 round fight, or do you just want to be able to go in there and do you and just fight at whatever pace you want to fight at?
I'm going to fight at my pace. I can go in there and go all gas from start to finish and not have a problem. I mean, you watched that last fight. I fought again. Like I said, I fought someone that has known for his cardio, known for pushing the pace, known for making it gritty and hard. And everybody looks gassed at the end of the fight whenever they fight him or they quit before then. And look how I finished the last 30 seconds of the fight. I didn't gas fatigue at all. So I had 3 more rounds left of me, not just two. And I'm going to build upon that in this fight coming up. So I don't need to pace myself.
I love it,
It's going to be
man.
a good one.
I can't wait to watch August 21st. I don't want to wish the summer away, but it can't get here soon enough. Can't wait to watch this one, man. Dalton, I always appreciate the time, man. Thank you for always joining me. Before we do sign off here, as always, I want to give you the floor. Anything you want to plug, anyone you want to thank, the floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, I just want to thank my coaches, American Top Team, for turning me into the fighter I am today. All my support, all my friends, all my family. supporters. And on top of that, I would like to thank Arkham, my sponsor, and Valor Energy Drink, my sponsor as well. Everything's great right now.